Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining this session. In continuation with earlier discussion, and I'm taking this forward, where earlier we discussed about phase one and phase two. From now, I will be discussing on phase three. So this is Sohan Notial from Technology Allied Systems and AI-based AI-powered organization. And as part of this session, I would be covering the phase three, that is data preparation. The real work begins here, actually. Most of your time in an AI project isn't spent training models, it's spent preparing the data. So that is where the maximum time is spent. A fact, around 80% of AI project time for each AI project iteration typically goes into tasks like collecting, cleaning, merging, labeling, and otherwise so wrangling and preparing data. The first crucial step in phase 3 is to design and build your data pipeline. The pipeline is simply the route your data takes from the original source to the AI system. There are typically two pipelines and to consider: training data pipeline. Then in this typically the data pipeline is where some gather, where you gather, clean, and format historical or existing data to teach your model before it's built and in use. So typically training the model. Then inference data pipeline. As part of this inference data pipeline handles the real-time ongoing flows of new and production data. The model will process once it's deployed. AI specific considerations, data acquisition needs. How will you gather your data? Are you pulling from database, APIs, streaming sources, or third-party power providers? Make sure you confirm and who owns the data and whether you have performance and to use it. You have permission to use it. Data merging next. The data merging needs. If your data comes from multiple places, you will need to merge your those sources carefully. Different data sources as might have different namings in conversions or slightly different data types. Watch out the duplicates and that can skew your result or break your pipelines. So that's these are the things which needs to be considered as part of while merging the data. Data cleaning needs. This includes removing corrupt records and fixing inconsistencies and handling massive values. Often you will also need to normalize or standardize entries like ensuring data's dates and in some format or numeric fields are consistently in the same unit of measurement. So ensuring it things are as per units are maintained, and the date format is also consistently is consistent. Then comes the data enhancement. Think about adding extra information that might help your model. For example, if you have a timestamp, and can you convert it into a useful feature like the day of the week, a time of the day, and then considering ways to enrich or augment data. For example, generating additional examples or synthesizing variation that make your training set more robust. Then comes filtering and bias reductions. Make sure to remove or correct any problematic data that can introduce bias into your model. This might this might mean balancing the representation of various categories, or weeding out the outliers that don't reflect the world conditions. And the data labeling, so usually supervised no, as part of AI, machine learning, where we have supervised learning. So data labeling is very much required. Then comes a point to consider during this phase. Make sure you have the budget and the right people to do data labeling accurately. If you realize labeling will be too costly or too time consuming, in that may be good reason to go back and revisit your scope, so that accordingly you should not over budget. Maybe a simpler semi supervised or unsupervised approach is more realistic, or perhaps you can consider using an off the self model that can be aligned to your business needs. So yeah, these are the factors of cost saving. The iterative nature of professional project management, managing AI gives you the flexibility. If 80% of your AI effort is in data engineering, make sure you have the right team to handle it. So right team for AI is very much important, and data engineers or data analytics play a very critical role in AI projects. By the end of the AI phase 3, you should be able to answer these some of the questions. How should data be cleaned and prepared to meet project requirement? How exactly it should be done? How can we create representable steps? How can we create repeatable steps for data engineering? How can we consider continuously monitor and evaluate data quality? How can we effectively use or modify third party data? When and how should humans be involved in data labeling? What additional steps can we take to augment data? Then comes the phase 4, or model development. You should be you should be well prepared to actually build and train your AI models. But first, you have to choose the right tools for the job. So, There are various tools, and we need to ensure that the right tool is being used. Few needs across around building our AI solution. What algorithm or approach we are doing to implement the solution? Classification, regression, clustering, or something else? What algorithm approach tools tool to platform best machine matches the mature of your data and your business goals? Will you use third party AI service, a cloud based AI platform, or build everything in house? So what will be your approach, whether you're using third party or building in house, no, or you're collaboratively working? You need to think ahead of where will the model live, how will end users interact, how often will it need uh, retraining, how often it will require retraining, how much will it cost when being used in the real world, cost when it is deployed. As you work through phase 4, keep these questioning in mind. And how can we transform the data into a machine learning model that meets the project requirement? How effectively are we training the machine learning model? How successfully are we optimizing the model? Which algorithm settings and hyperparameters are best suited for our project? Should we create assemble models, and if so, how? Would using third party models or model extensions defined our extension benefit our project? So whether the no, third party model can be used, or extending the model, what is that benefit we are going to get? Is there any benefit of going this approach? Are we correctly developing our model according to the chosen machine learning machines? Now, moving on to the phase 5, model evaluation. We don't just ask, don't does the AI system work? Just asking whether the AI system which has been implemented, whether it's working. We ask, is the AI solution continuously delivering the value we promised? So whether the AI system which has been implemented is continuously delivering the value. This phase requires you to look at how AI solution aligns with the real world performance performance indicators and requirement we set ourselves in project management. AI phase is one. Business understanding. As part of the phase 5, are we saving the money and we thought we would? Are we spending up? Are we speeding up internal processes, improving compliance, or reducing risk? Phase 5 requires a continuous monitoring approach, and often referred to as machine learning operations. By using these approaches, if you notice the model performance slipping, or if the costs start to outweigh the benefits, you can revisit earlier phase to retain or adjust your model. One lesson we learned in building a iterative and highly reliable software system is that we should be constantly testing our system as we are publishing them in out to deployment. This is a concept of development operations, DevOps, which includes the process like continuous integration, continuous deployment, and continuous monitoring and versioning. In machine learning operations, MLOps, Ops also has some unique needs to address AI specific concerns. It has data drift, model drift, data provenance. We will also need to figure out the model governance. Phase 5 is also where you create an iteration phase, and who is responsible for monitoring the model, how you will capture new data to retain for retaining or for refining the model features, what tools and dashboard you will use for continuous performance tracking. We'll also need to figure out who is responsible for monitoring the model, how will capture new data for retaining or refining the model features, what tools and dashboards you will use for the continuous performance tracking. In phase 5 evaluation should also confirm that end users understand how to use the system and trust insights or recommendation and it provides. What can help with adoptions? Training session, user friendly approach, clear documentation. Realize the people aren't using some AI solution you have developed, maybe because it is too complicated or doesn't integrate with their daily workflow. Then that's the signal to revisit your approach, possibly adjusting the scope or refining the user's experience. Here are some of the questions to be taken as part of the phase 5. Does the model meet the required accuracy and the precision metrics? Are there concerns about overfitting or underfitting? Are the training, validation, and the test curves acceptable? Does the model align with the business KPIs? Is the model suitable for chosen operational approach? How will the model be monitored? How will be the model be iterated and versioned? Then comes the phase 6, last but not least, operationalization. And we are ready to put the AI solution into hands of real world users. By end of this phase, AI system will be running in production environment, integrated with the real data, delivering online ongoing values to your organization. The act of uh, taking a model or AI system out of the lab or training environment and putting it into the operational environment of the real world is what we call operationalization. Phase 6 requires us to answer these questions. How will the model be used in the real world? What data is needed for model to work effectively? What performance standards should be model meet? How will the model be deployed in different environments? How will the model performance be monitored? Here are some of the consideration which no, when doing so. Uh, the first one is the performance. So basically, whatever AI model which is being into operationalized, and we look into the performance perspective. How much time does it take your model to respond to the request to a request? How many simulate how many simultaneous users may be handled before it slowed down? Resource usage and cost. It's crucial to nail down resource usage and the costs. For example, if your model requires frequent retaining with huge amount of data, your cost might skyrocket. Make sure you have accounted for those recurring cost in your project budget. Then model versioning and conversation governance. Who decide what to upgrade to a new model? How do we roll back if an update has worse performance? We designate the decision makers and define guidelines for the model updates, compliance checks, and user permissions. This might include a formal review process before any new version of the AI system or model goes live. Because project management and managing AI phase 4 is about seeing the real world impact. So basically, the sixth phase is what is the real world impact. Then comes the reporting. You also want to uh, dashboard or reporting mechanism. This mechanism is required that tracks the metrics you are established. You have established. Okay, so that's the thing, and as you put the finishing touch in on the operationalization, remember that these points are taken care. Decide whether the model will be on premise, cloud based, or edge deployed based on the performance and data requirement and cost. Monitor system usage, latency, and resource consumptions. Make sure you have budgeted for training, retraining, scaling, and ongoing management. Establishing clear processes for an updating or rollback models, along with a chain of responsibility for oversight. Use dashboard or analytics tools for confirm the model is delivering a business benefit you have outlined in phase one. So that's the thing. Think big, start small, iterate often. So this is the these are the things which is being followed by this is, this will be helpful for future as well. Think big, start small, iterate often. So thanks for joining this session. Thank you everyone.